Hello people. Yeah, I'm not feeling very great today, but I did feel like doing a video because actually it helps me to do these videos, believe it or not. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit shitty because my other half's father has prostate cancer and he's been going through chemo and hormones and they give them steroids. You know, and when people aren't awake and aware, they believe in reality, they believe it's real, and they believe in the mandates, and they believe in the, you know, in the status quo, and they go along with everything instead of, you know, looking into alternative treatments, etc. You know, they just haplessly hand themselves over into the care of, well, you know, big pharma and whatnot, and he's a shadow of his former self. You know, it's really awful to see. It really is. It's just scary. I lost a friend a couple of years back to a brain tumor, and he did exactly the same thing. And I mean, his story was just incredible because his brain tumor was on the right side, and they said, "Oh well, we're going to see if we can get it out." And guess what? They went in and tried to. They went into the wrong side of his brain basically, and thereby made it impossible for him to ever get well again. They totally messed it up and totally made a mess of it, and didn't even apologise. And I said to him, "You should sue them. You know, totally sue them, all the way to hell and back, because I would have. It was the last thing I was ever going to do, you know, if I was in his situation." But then again, at the same time, I think he just wanted, he was so ill and he was so unwell, he just wanted the last, you know, few months that he had to be free from that sort of thing. But, you know, they had him on steroids and he just blew up. I mean, all of it is just awful. It's awful. It's not healthcare, it's death care, you know. And that is that. I mean, it's appalling, and it's very depressing, you know. I mean, there are plenty of alternatives out there. Unfortunately, often enough, it's A, difficult to find them, B, very expensive, you know. There's been a lot of people with really good ideas, like Wilhelm Reich, you know, which is amazing. There's CBD oil, obviously, CBD oil. There's loads of different things. And of course, there's always, you know, realizing that ultimately what causes disease, personally, I believe it's all energetic, you know, but that, you know, yeah, that's energetic. Okay, so you can work on that, but you know, it's not going to solve anything overnight. And a lot of people are sick. A lot of people are very, very ill everywhere I go. Even when your doctor gives you a so-called clean bill of health, that doesn't actually mean anything. You know, it doesn't. Your body is full of crap at any given time. I mean, you know, especially if you're a vaccinated child, God knows what's in there, retroviruses, you know, etc. It's all a bit depressing, isn't it? I'm sorry, people, you know. I just felt like getting it off my chest. Because, you know, it makes me feel so heavy, you know, it makes me feel like, well, I really do sometimes. I feel like, what's the point? What's the point in going on? You know, when I started off doing these videos, I thought that, you know, I was going to share my, you know, my wisdom, such as it is. I actually felt that, oh, you know, I can do that because I have a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowing, and I want to share it, you know, and I've done that to an extent, but my channel, my YouTube channel, has kind of morphed into something other than what I thought it would be, you know. But then maybe that's what it's meant to be, you know, maybe that's what's meant to be. So I'll just go with the flow, and I'll just see where it goes, really. I guess what I wanted to talk about is the law of attraction. I've been meaning to do a video on this for so long, and I kept putting it off because I'm not quite sure that I have the right language to really put into words what I mean to say about this particular gaslighting operation, because I believe that is exactly what it is. The law of attraction is a massive gaslighting operation. But at the same time, I don't want to be a black and white person, and I think there's always a bit of white in the black and a little bit of black in the white, and I think that is important to remember. I think that the best lies are the ones that have some truth in them, and I think there is some truth in the law of attraction. But I think, of course, as always, gaslighting manipulates everything and gives it to you in such a way that it's not going to help you, it's going to harm you, you know. Years ago there was this documentary on. It was a really cool documentary. I can't remember what it's called, but it was about this Indian guy who pretended to be a guru. He wasn't a guru, it was the name of the guy, he was just an Indian geezer, you know, from Bombay, I think. But he pretended to be this yogi type thing, and he went to California and he got his friends to go around and spread the word, and he attracted all this crowd, and you know, and he did it all because he wanted to see how gullible people are, you know. And people are incredibly gullible. People are gullible because people are needy, and people are needy because we've all been had and we're very wounded and we're looking for answers, you know. It's not our fault. Anyway, he attracted this group of people. And there was this particular group of his followers that were really into the law of attraction, you know, and they were all in this group, and they were doing their vision boards and all that sort of stuff. And they were not very pleasant people. In fact, the only person in the whole group of his followers that I liked was this single mother who used to sleep like 2-3 hours a night in order to provide for her children. She was a really wonderful woman who'd had a really hard life and who knew about suffering, who knew about hardship, and who developed a hell of a lot of compassion for other people and herself and whatnot. As a result, she was wonderful. She was just a really good, beautiful person. But these law of attraction people were just toxic, you know. Anyway, at the end, when he reveals that he's actually not what he claims to be, all these law of attraction people get really angry, and they go, oh, you know, they just had a complete meltdown, and off they went back to their vision boards, you know, and whatnot. Yeah, you know, it's the law of attraction. That book, The Secret, when it came out, my alarm bells went off immediately, because it was clearly mainstream, for starters. You know, it was all hyped. It was the way it was packaged, the colours, the little promo videos and whatnot, you know, of a woman walking through the desert and, oh, you know, and all this type of bollocks. And I knew straight away, I smelled a massive rat, you know, like. But I read the book because I wanted to know what it was all about. And then I saw how this information went out into the world and what it did to people. I saw that people were terrified of their own thoughts, of their own feelings, and as a result, shoved everything down into their subconscious even more. I saw how people became even more materialistically orientated, because in a book, you know, there's a guy, he's like, well, I wanted that sports car, and then I got it. I got the sports car, and I'm the envy of all my friends. Wow, yeah, that's just what you want, isn't it? You want to be the envy of all your friends, you know, and you want that sports car because it's so meaningful. Yeah, it really was, you know, made me feel sick. But, yeah, it's not of the light. Do we manifest reality? I believe that yes, we do. And I've spoken about this. I've also spoken about why our consciousness is hijacked in order to manifest a reality that is to our detriment. And that serves a darker force. But there's also forces of light in this world. I have noticed this. There is a constant interplay really of light and dark. It's just that the darkness is now more pronounced than ever before, because we are in Armageddon, you know, things are happening, there is a great battle going on. You know, or the battle may have always gone on actually, but it is more pronounced now. The darkness is, well, you know, the term cornered rats comes to mind. So when you go through life, one thing you know, when you start to become aware of yourself, going through life, you awaken and you become aware of yourself, is that you worry a lot. People worry all the time, you know, and we have a lot of negative thoughts, negative thought forms that just pop into our heads, you know. It's not like we're consciously thinking, because we're not. Our thinking, our thoughts tend to trend toward the negative, towards fear and survival, as in, I'm not safe, how am I going to survive? I mean, something, and it's always a case of like, oh, worst case scenario, that way at least I won't be disappointed. There's a lot of very negative stuff going on inside here. Now, add to that the law of attraction. Your thoughts create your reality. You've got a shitstorm of massive proportions, right? You get people really just, it's a torturous mess. It's people censoring their thoughts and who and are, and well, I've heard some real horror stories, you know, with regards to the law of attraction and what it's done to people. I mean, it's really not good. I think, yes, we do create our reality. It was something happened yesterday that I thought was really funny. I sent an email to a friend, and in it I mentioned a woman with a beehive haircut and what I call Gary Larson glasses, right? A few hours later I went onto Facebook, and a fat woman with a beehive and Gary Larson glasses, a Gary Larson cartoon showed up on Facebook, and it was like, oh. Now, is that synchronicity, or is that me creating reality? Is perhaps the Great Spirit trying to show me that I'm creating? Because this kind of stuff happens a lot. It happens a lot. Or, like, I'm off to the dentist this afternoon at 20 to 3. This is part of the reason I'm feeling a bit out of sorts, because I was brushing my teeth and it was hurting a bit. I've had untold trouble with my teeth, and that all boils down to shitloads of rage and, yeah, self-hatred issues, because that affects your teeth. And or that's what I believe, and I've come across this in a lot of people. So yeah, I believe I'm onto something there. So anyway, that saga is ongoing. It makes me feel like crap, but you know, I have to go in there today. And yeah, my intuition has been there saying it's going to be okay, don't worry. But my mind is doing cartwheels, and it's all negative, and worst case scenario type shit, which I really have no control over. It just happens, right? This is hijack. It's classic hijack of the mind. Now, I've learned to become more objective to that. I've learned to see that and to imagine that all that shit is in a room, and I'm standing in a hallway and I'm witnessing these thoughts taking place and the resulting emotions taking place, but I'm witnessing that, and I'm practicing letting it go and just nurturing myself and loving myself, and not reacting, not beating myself up for having these thoughts or feelings, not reacting to sad thoughts and feelings. This is a bit of a process, but you know, and it's very much touch and go, but it's something that I'm doing, and I'm going to continue to do, because I refuse to be bludgeoned by these negative thoughts all the time. It's a nightmare. Now, when you're depressed, you get a lot of that, you know. When you're not depressed, you probably don't notice it that much, but you still get it. I notice it because I've been depressed and I get it a lot, and so I've become hyper aware of it, which it then enables me to tackle it, you know. So I find that actually, you know, people that have been to the school of hard knocks, proverbially speaking, you know, have a lot more knowing about what's really going on inside our heads and our feelings and stuff, often enough if they want to, you know, and they have a lot more skill at working with it to get to higher consciousness, you know. People who've been to the school of hard knocks tend to have more insight and more compassion and more empathy as well, I find. Whereas people that, you know, have just kind of had it relatively easy in life, I mean, good for them and, you know, bless them and all, but they don't really get it. Anyway, so yes, we do manifest reality. Yes, our consciousness is hijacked so that we actually unwittingly manifest a reality that's really, really shitty and dark, and we are doing that to an extent, obviously. Yes, we can take our power back and manifest light and renewal and reset, but it's something that we have to commit to 100%. Not, I'd say, well, like 500%, and we have to practice. It does not mean that your thoughts, that your every thought will create your reality. That's utter nonsense. It just isn't true, and it's done a lot of harm, that law of attraction thing, you know. It's just not how it works. I mean, how many times have you had a thought, a negative thought? Has it instantly manifested? No. Has it manifested in a year or 2 years? No, it hasn't, you know. I remember there was this actor, he's an English actor, and he grew up very poor, and all his life he was terrified that he was going to lose all his money and end up homeless in the gutter. Well, it never happened, you know. So, I mean, that's just rubbish. But they want you to think like this. They want you to be afraid. They want you to be doubly afraid, and they add things to the mix that make you even more afraid. Because if you're wandering around thinking, oh, and my thoughts create my reality, and you're having all these unwanted negative thoughts, most people do. You then end up beating yourself up over having these unwanted negative thoughts, which makes everything even worse, and so forth and so on. And hence, by the by, you end up actually manifesting more negativity, you know. I mean, really. So, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, the law of attraction is a crock of shite. It should be completely and utterly ignored. It should be exposed for what it is, really. And we should get back down to the business of actually healing, clearing out all the crap, and manifesting heaven on earth. You know, reset. And we can do this, and we will do this. I really fervently believe that. We're not doing this on our own. There are forces of light that are with us, that are assisting us. I feel this very, very strongly, you know. This is a great big war, a great big battle. I mean, things feel quite dark today, and whatnot, but it's going to be okay, people, you know. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say today, and I wish you well wherever you are. Lots of love and sunshine and well-being. Meow.